Okay, there are 12 participants today. So let's start our discussion by reciting Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Bante.
Okay. So
Uh,
thank you, Robin, for summarizing today. I was listening to a part of it. Uh, so we are going to start from the sixth.
Thank you, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay.
Good evening, Bante. This is
Good evening.
Ryan. Yes, I'm sorry, Bante, but before we start the new lecture,
Okay.
may I have a few questions regarding the previous lecture, Bante?
Okay, of course, Dr. Ryan.
Yes, it's just because last time, to be honest, based on the announcement of the Sayale Punya, we knew that, I mean, we were aware that that would be just the one session short summary. So I came in with the mindset that, refraining from asking questions. So when I listened to the recording again, I had a lot of questions. So please allow me to ask questions now,
Okay,
Bante.
okay.
Yes. So the first question, Bante, is the word agenda. So I remember last lecture you said that the Pali word is janda, but in English we can translate it as two ways: meter or a prosody, right? But
Yes.
from my understanding is that we also have another word, Bante, which is the metric. So then the metric is similar to meter or prosody, Bante.
It is actually derived from meter. So, as I understand, the meaning of metric is something which is related to meters. So actually whole prosody is related to meters. So we can say metric to the whole prosody also. But actual meaning of it, as I understand, metric is something which is related to meters.
Yes. So does that mean that it is similar to prosody then, Bante?
Yes, it is similar to prosody, but isn't metric adjective?
No, it is a noun, Bante,
It's a
because
noun.
I remember when we study any grammatical books like Rupa Siddhi or Patja Ajana or anything. So usually we translate the word chanda as metric or prosody. In fact, it is the first time I hear the word meter, meter.
I see. A meter, the dictionary gives the meaning as the meter of a poem to the word metric. I think
Yes.
the noun
Yes.
adjective is given as related to a poetic meter, and for noun as a noun meaning is given as the meter of a poem. So actually, then we can conclude that the word metric and meter are same as a noun.
But you think that the meter and the metric are the same?
Yes, as I understand so far, meter
Uh,
and metric are same.
I see. Okay. Um, yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Pante. And
Oh,
then the next question is about the first verse, actually, the Namatu Janasantana and so on.
yes.
And my question is about the word Damucha Lantaruchi. So is it a Bahubihi Samasa in this case, Pante?
Yes, it is a Bahubhi Samasa. Dhamma Ujjalanta Ruchi. Within that compound, there are two nouns, Dhamma and Ujjalanta Ruchi. Ujjalanta Ruchi is actually, the meaning is given as shining splendid here. Shining splendid. In Myanmar, meaning is given as shining rays. Ujjalanta Ruchi. The, Ujjalanta Ruchi means shining rays. Then Ujjalanta Ruchi via Ujjalanta Ruchi. The thing which is same to shining rays is called as Ujjalanta Ruchi. So then Dhammo Ujjalanta Ruchi Yassati Dhammujjalanta Ruchi. The person who has Dhamma which is similar to shining rays. So it is a Bahubhihi Samasa. Yes.
I see. So Bante, you said that ruchi is translated as the race. So it's the noun. It's not an adjective, Bante, because it doesn't have the. I mean, it doesn't have the meaning of just the splendid.
Yes, here it's given as splendid. It is splendid shining teaching. But then, according to this meaning, still it is a Bahubhihi Samasa.
Yeah, yeah, Bante. So can we say that the
Ujjalanta Ruchi is an adjective for Dhamma.
yeah
Here, yeah, they are also in the previous one also it was adjective for Dhamma. According to this meaning, shining splendid. In English, we can give the meaning considering it as adjective. But in Pali, it is a noun. There is a verse like in the dictionary, Transi Abha Pabha Diti Ruchi Bha Diti Diditi. All these words are for race. Transi Abha Pabha. So there is this Ruchi also within that verse. So they are synonyms for race. So the previous definition was for that shining rays. According to this, we can give definition like Ujjalantocha so ruchi chati Ujjalanta ruchi. It is a Kammadhare samasa. First,
yeah
Ujjalanta ruchi is a Kammadhare samasa. Ujjalanto ruchi, Ujjalantocha so ruchi chati Ujjalanta ruchi.
yeah
It refers to Dhamma. Dhamma is shining and it is also splendid.
yeah
In Ujjalanta Ruchi Dhamma, that should be the actual order because adjective comes before the noun. But sometimes in some compounds, the adjective goes after the noun. Like in Raja Hanso, Hansa Raja, you have seen. No? Sometimes
yeah
adjective is, we call it Visesana Uttara Pada. Visesana or adjective comes after the noun sometimes. So here also, Dhammo, this actually definition should be given as Ujjalanta Ruchi Dhammo Yassati. Ujjalanta Ruchi Dhammo. And the whole compound refers to Buddha. But here the adjective comes after the noun. So Dhammo Ujjalanta Ruchi Yassati Dhammujjalanta Ruchi. The person who has shining, splendid teaching. That is the definition according to this translation of Venerable Ananda Jyoti Bhante.
I see.
So, is that clear?
Uh, yes, Bante. Okay. And then the next question is about the next verse, Bante. This the Tato Magada Basaya and so on. So here, Bante,
Okay.
so let's see. So the first question is about the word lakana yang sangyukta. So I think there is a different spelling from the a copy of the translation of the Venerable Ananda Jyoti and the version that you sent us this morning. It's just the Pali. Because so in the version of the Venerable Ananda Jyoti, then it is like we see here, Lakkana Sangyuktang. But in the other version, it's Lakkana Sangyuktang. Okay, so it's Lakja, not Lakka. So which one is correct, Bante?
Actually, both are correct. In Myanmar, also we use Lakhya with Y after H. But this is also correct, Lakha, because the root is actually Lakha. Lakha is the root. So with that root, we can make the word lakha with kamma sadhana. And we, if the, how to tell it, if the suffix is a or na, if the suffix is na or a, then the word becomes lakha. The root is lakha. This is the root. So in kamma sadhana, if you add the suffix or particle a to this, then the kitaka becomes lakha. If you add na, according to other sutras or other traditions, still it becomes lakha. Okay. If you add, there is another suffix nya or ya. Sometimes you use in kamma sadhana, in the meaning of kamma, one is nya, this one. You know, this n is actually an extra one. We don't use this n. So what is the final word? Lakya. And with the suffix ya also, it becomes lakya. So both are correct actually.
But all of them have the same meaning, Bante.
Same meaning, yes. All of them have same meaning. Lakya.
Okay, Bante. So I guess then the next question is, so the word we have lakha, lakhana sangyuktang. Then I remember last time, Bante, you explained that here we are connected with uh, um, examples and rules. And you also mentioned that in this particular Wutto, then we don't have separate rules and examples, but they are combined. So, so how do we know that, Bante? Because based on my understanding, when we read this word, what it means is that just combined with examples and rules. So it says that Wutto will have examples and rules. But I mean, how can we know that from this word that the examples and rules are exactly one? They are not separate.
Okay, I will explain that. So your question was, here it is mentioned that lakya lakhana sangyuttang. The example and the sutra or the characteristics are combined or together. So how we can know that? Is that your question?
Yes, Bante.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
so when I look into this word, and it looks to me that lakkana, that is the Dvanda Samasa, and then lakkana sangyukta, then it's the I think it's the Tatiyata Purisa. So just basically based on that, how do we know that the that means it modifies the Wukto. This word modifies the Wukto. So it says that this Wukto is connected or associated or connected or associated with the example and the suttas. But based on your explanation, it looks like this word is on its own.
No, actually not, because as you mentioned, this refers to the Vutta. So this is also a Bahubbihi Samasa. Then there are two words here also, Lakya Lakhana and Sangyutta, two words. So Lakya Lakhana can be considered as a Dvanda also. Yeah, it can be considered as a Dvanda Samasa. So then like Lakhyancha, Lakhanancha, Lakhya Lakhanang. It is the Dvanda Samas, is the definition for this Dvanda Samas. Then or Lakhya Lakhanani, we can keep it in plural also. Lakhya Lakhanani. Then Lakhya Lakhanani Sangyuttani Etha. Etha here in this book, in this prosody, Vuttodaya. Yes, in this prosody, examples and sutras are combined. Examples and sutras, Lakya Lakhana, Sangyuttang combined, where here in this prosody. Is that clear now?
Yeah,
Because the definition is like lakya lakkanani sangyuttani etha. Lakya and lakkana are combined, or they are together with in this prosody.
yeah, yeah. If you define it as Bahuvi Samasa, yes, that's right.
Yes, it is also a Bahubhi Samasa.
I see. Yeah. The next question is about the those two verses. Okay. So the Tato Magada Basaya, that
Yes.
verse, and the next verse Iyang Vuttodaya Tayang Nama. So those
Okay.
two verses, we should read them together, right, Bante? Because it looks to me that the word Matta Wana Vibedanang Lakana Sangyutang and Pasannatha Padakkamang, all of them modifies the Bukto the young, right, Bante?
Yes.
Because yeah, and otherwise, if we just read the first verse alone, then we doesn't know. I mean, for me, I don't know what are those words modified to. So we have to read them together, right, Bante?
You are asking about this Matta Vanna Vibhedanang, one word, then Lakya Lakkana Sangyuttang two, Pasannatta Padakkaman three.
Modifies the word Bukto the young, right, Bante?
Yes, yes, yes. All those are modifying the word Vuttodaya.
Okay, right. Okay. So it's clear to me based on the explanation that Bante, the Lakkana Sangyuktang and Pasannatha Padakkamang, they are Bahubihi Samasa uh, of the Bukto the young. But could you please explain how the word Matta Wana Vibedanang is the Bahubihi Samasa of the Bukto the Bante?
Matta Vanna Vibhedanang.
What it means is, what is the Wikihat sentence, Bante?
It can be actually considered as a Taddhita also. If you say the definition as this, Matta Vannanang Vibhedanang, Matta Vanna Vibhedanang. The division of Matta and Vanna. So at this moment, the Matta Vanna Vibhedanang refers to the division. Then Matta Vanna Vibhedanang Asming Atti. You know Asatti Taddhita?
Yeah,
Asatti Taddhita, it's a type of Taddhita. Then we can say that definition. Matta Vanna Vibhedanang Asmingti Matta Vanna Vibhedanang. Then also this whole word refers to Vuttodaya, but it is according to this definition, it is a Taddhita. In another way, actually, it will be little deeper. This can be considered as a Kitaka also. This can be considered as a Kitaka also. Matta Vanna Vibhajanti Ethati Matta Vanna Vibhedanam. We call this in grammatical terms like Kitanta Samasa. A samasa, a compound which end with the kitaka, which end with the kitaka pachaya. So we can say like that also. But however, this refers to Vuttodaya. If we consider this as a bahubbihi, then also we can say like matta vanna nang vibhedanang ethati matta vanna vibhedanang. Then it is a bahubbihi samasa, no?
yeah,
Here in this Vuttode, in this prosody, there is a division of matta and vanna. So according to that definition, this is the bahubhihi samasa.
okay, thank you, Bante. And the last
Okay.
question is about
Okay.
the, sorry, Bante. The last question is about the word, in fact, it's previous stanza. It's Sutta Magadi Kanantang. So Sutta Magadi Kanantang. So the first question is here, I mean, because of the meter, so the let's see. Because of the meter, the E becomes long, right, Bante? Because it should be Sutta Magadhikanang, right, Bante?
Actually, this should be Magadhikanang. In the Burmese books also, this is Magadhikanang, short I. This is not long, but
Yeah,
I don't know why this Bante kept it as long. Maybe the book he referred to mentions this as long. In Burmese books,
right,
this is
yeah,
short,
short, yeah,
Magadhi, just I.
I see. And then, yes, Bante, and then the next question about this word is, based on my understanding, Magadika is a Tatkita word, and I think it's the Wicca sentence is like Magade Wasapi Ti Magadiko or Magade Jato Magadiko. What it means is that the one who lives or was born in Magada, but here we explain it as the one who speaks the language Magada. How do we get that meaning, Bante?
Because Magadha, here also as you mentioned, Magadha refers to the language. Magadha is the place and Magadha is the language spoken in that country or that place, that area. So it is actually the Pali language. Then Magadha is the final word. Then the Suddha is the modification or the adjective for Magadha. Suddha Magadha, pure Magadha, pure Magadha language. We can consider this as word Magadhi also, because we mostly use Magadhi referring to Pali language. So we can use Magadhi also. Then Suddha Magadhi, Suddha Magadhi, pure Magadhi language. Suddha, pure Magadhi, Magadhi language. Suddha Magadhi. Then it is a Kammadhare Samasa, which refers to pure Magadhi language. Then Suddha Magadhin, then it is a Tadhita. You can call any name for that. Like if you say the definition as Suddha Magadhin Jananti Ti Suddha Magadhika, then it is Jananti Tadhita. The people who know Suddha Magadhi. Suddhamagadhika. The noun is Suddhamagadhi. Suffix is ika or nika.
Right, right. And then this is like the last one. Sorry, Bante. So,
Okay,
so here you
other
said
one.
that the sukta modifies the word Magadi. Is
Yes,
the pure or the pure Magadi language, Magada language. And then so then later on we can see that the author just mentioned the word Magadi, and then you said that so that here the uh, the the purpose is to distinguish it with the Sanskrit language, right?
yes.
But according to the translation of the Venerable Ajahn, let me
Ananda
see, yeah,
Jyoti.
Ananda Jyoti, then he said that
Jyoti.
in order to distinguish this with some other Magadhi language, not the Sanskrit. So if we use if we think about those two different approaches, then can we say that the word Sukha here does not modify the word Magadhi, but it in fact modifies the person in some way, in a sense that we say that this person speaks Magadhi only, not the pure Magadhi. Can we think about it that way, Bante?
Yes, we can think in that way also. Then the problem arises is Suddha is one word, Magadhika is another word. So Magadhika refers to the person who knows uh, Magadhi language. Then Suddha is an adjective for Magadhika, according to this way of thinking. Then that means the person is pure. That problem can arise here because the Suddha modifies the person. So it's like pure person, because Magadhika refers to person. We can say like the person who knows Magadhi, but actually the word Magadhika refers to the person. So if the word Suddha is an adjective for Magadhika, that problem can arise. It's like pure person,
But
isn't it?
then, Bante, so is there a way for us to make this as some kind of a lukta samasa, Bante? So it's like some word is omitted.
Lutta Samasa. Is there any suggestion from your side for a Lutta Samasa?
Yeah. I'm just thinking, Bante, but I'm not skillful enough to make the recap
Actually, the
sentence,
meaning
Bante.
should be taken like that. That meaning should be taken like that, as you mentioned. The people who only knows Pali. That is the
Yeah,
actual meaning.
yeah,
But as a samasa in all everywhere, this is mentioned in this way. Suddha is an adjective for Magadhi. Suddha Magadhi. Like the people who only know Suddha Magadhi.
right. But then, Bante, so it's just because when we say that the person who knows, if we say that Sutta Magadi refers to Pali, then when we say Sutta Magadika, so the person who knows Pali, it doesn't mean that he only knows Pali. He can know something else, but he also knows Pali, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So here I just want to bring out the the point that what do we
Yes, yes,
say?
yes. Any suggestions from others?
Someone who doesn't, Bhante, someone who doesn't know,
Someone who doesn't know.
someone who is proficient in, I mean, I think that the Nirutti or the Vigraha has to be, kind of extended in a way that it expresses that the person is proficient in Suddha Magadhi, but not proficient in Sanskrit, any other grammar treatises which discuss on the uh, Pali the meters.
Yes, actually, yes. Let me check the Burmese book.
And is there any Nisaya for this one?
Yes, yes. There is a Nisaya called Chanda Medani. You can find in Burma. It is in Burmese language. It is written by Nanda Manju Thero, Sayadaw Nanda Manju. You can find that book and refer to that. It's a very good book.
Okay. Thank you, Pandit.
In the Myanmar Nisaya, the meaning is given as the Suddha Magadhikanang, the people who only know Suddha Magadhi, people who only know pure Magadhi. So, according to the Myanmar Nisaya also, Suddha is an adjective for Magadhi. The meaning only is also given, only. The people who only know Suddha Magadhi. Then as Dr. Ryan mentioned, we can think like the word eva. Word eva is deleted within the taddhita, but that is also not a usual thing. Suddhamagadhing eva jananti iti suddhamagadhika. You can say the definition like that also, but that is not a usual way of giving definitions. In taddhita, in samasa we use that method. The word eva usually we delete the word eva, but in taddhita we do not do that.
I
So
see.
there is another way, like in grammar, there are two ways of taking meaning. Now this is going to be a grammar class. Oh my god.
Sorry, Bante.
Okay, okay, it's okay. Have you heard about Vedachinta? Vedachinta is a grammar book. So in that grammar book, it is mentioned that when taking the meaning of emphasis, the meaning of the word eva, meaning of the nipata eva, there are two ways. Sometimes the word eva is directly seen, like in this example, puriso eva gacchati. Puriso eva gacchati. So here the word eva is directly seen, and we can give the meaning as the only man goes, only the man is going. Sometimes we do not put eva everywhere. Puriso gacchati. When you say puriso gacchati, you mean that a woman is not going, only the man going. So without the word eva, you can take that meaning. In grammar, there is a rule like this: va sabbang vakyang savadharanam. Sabbang vakyang savadharanam. Every sentence can have the meaning of the word eva. Every sentence can have the emphasis meaning. Like, let's say, so gamang gacchati. When you say so gamang gacchati, you mean he is only going to the village, not going to anywhere else. So this avadharana meaning, or the meaning of emphasis, is within this sentence. So that is mentioned in grammar books as sabbang vakyang savadharanam. So even without the word eva, we can take the meaning of word eva. So according to that method, we can take the meaning here also. The people, when we mention the people who know Suddha Magadi, the meaning should be taken as those people only know Suddha Magadi. Because otherwise, we don't need to mention they know Suddha Magadi in a place like this.
I see. I see. Thank you, Bante. Sadhu, 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 Bante.
Okay.
Bante,
Okay, let's go to the, yes.
sorry, Bante, may I also ask? I think it's one question, Bante.
Yes, of course, you can ask.
Yes, Bante. So, like, I have noticed, like, in the explanation that is given by the Bante Ananda Jyoti about the Lokiya Chanda, Bante. In here, he mentioned that the Lokiya Chanda refers to the non-canonical, Bante. So,
Yes.
is that correct, Bante?
I cannot deny it, but I don't think it is. That should be considered as that non-canonical, because the reason is idang Vuttodaya nama lokiya chanda nissitang. It is
Yes,
a
Bante.
fourth verse, isn't it? Yes, fourth verse. In fourth verse, there is a line like this: lokiya chanda nissitang. This prosody, this Pāli prosody, relies on lokiya chanda, classical prosody. So Bante Ananda Jyoti gives meaning like Lokiya in Sanskrit. Here, can you see the screen? Laukiya in Sanskrit signifies non-Vedic. Non-Vedic. Because there are two chandas, or two types of prosodies in Sanskrit: Vedic and non-Vedic. In other words, Vedic and Laukiya. Uh, in Sanskrit, Vaidika Chandas and Laukiya or Laukika Chandas. So, according to that division, Bante Ananda Jyoti here divides our texts also. Like in Pali, Lokiya has to be taken as meaning non-canonical, because in Sanskrit their canon is Veda, 4 Vedas. Their canon is Vedas, and their non-canonical literature is mentioned here as Laukiya. So likewise in Pali also, we should take our Pali, Pali as canon, and other non-canonical literature as Lokiya. This is his idea. To some extent, I think this idea is correct, because in our Pāli, in our canonical texts, we often see verses which are not in accordance with the Vuttodaya, with prosody. But at the same time, there are so many hundreds of thousands of verses that are in accordance with the Vuttodaya. So because of that, I would not agree with this idea actually. In as the books in Myanmar describes this, what Venerable Sangharakkhita means is that this Vuttodaya, this book Vuttodaya is composed depending on Sanskrit Lokiya Chandas, because the book which Venerable Sangharakkhita referred is Vrutta. We mentioned it last week. Vrutta is a Sanskrit prosody. So in that Vrutta, there are both prosodies, Vedic prosody and what you call classical prosody or Lokiya Chandas. Both are seen there. So when Venerable Sangharakkhita composes this Vuttodaya, he does not rely on Vedic prosodies, because there is nothing to do with Vedic prosodies for us. So he only relies or depends on a classical Sanskrit prosody to compose this Vuttodaya. So that is how Myanmar books describe this. So I think this idea is a new idea by Venerable Ananda Jyoti Bhante.
Okay, Bante. So like actually like in his other books, the an outline of the meters in the Pali Canon, in the introduction part, like you mentioned, like in the Theravada countries, study of Pali prosody has nearly always been based on the medieval work Vuttodaya, which described the classical prosody fairly well, but is no guide at all to the canonical prosody. So that means that maybe this one is not correct, right, Bante?
This one is correct to some extent, I think.
But if he say that not a guide at all, maybe that is too, maybe not too correct, right, Bante?
Yes.
Because like Bante mentioned that there are many verses that in accordance with the Vuttodaya.
Yes, there are many verses. Like in Nahi
Oh,
Verena Verani and in Dhammapada, almost all are in accordance with Vuttodaya. But
okay.
as we know, the Lord Buddha does not compose verses in accordance with the Vuttodaya, because there was no Vuttodaya at that time. But however, the verses presented in Vuttodaya are seen in Pali, in canonical text also.
Okay, Bante. Then Bante, sorry Bante, but the follow-up question from what you have mentioned is that then why what is the possible reason that the Bante Sangharakkhita he didn't take like all the verses into account? Like there are some verses that are not in accordance with the Vuttodaya, right, Bante? So why is not like including maybe the role in that kind of verses as well in here? So make it like the exhaustive one, Bante.
As I understand, the reason is he composes this the Vuttodaya relying on the Vrutta, the Sanskrit prosody, and he only mentions here the meters or the verses which are already presented in Vrutta. He does not present any new verse. So if the verses said by Buddha are were not mentioned in Vuttaratnakara, Venerable Sangharakkhita also does not present them in Vuttodaya, because what he does is he just relies on Vuttaratnakara and takes some meters, some verses from Ruttaratnakara and composes this Vuttodaya. Actually, Vuttodaya is not completely similar to Ruttaratnakara. There are so many meters, so many verses in Vuttratnakara. Bhante Venerable Sangharakkhita only takes some of them and composes Vuttodaya. So Venerable Anand Jyoti in somewhere he mentions that some verses, some meters mentioned here in Vuttodaya are not seen anywhere in Pāli, in canonical texts, and very rare in other texts also. So he mentions that he does not know what is the reason for mentioning those meters or verses in the Pāli Prasadi.
Okay,
Okay.
Bante. Yes, Bante. So like it's maybe it's like a little bit weird, Bante, that why not the Bante Sangha kita directly take the Pali verses, Bante? Like because in the Ratnakara it should be like Sanskrit first, like Bante.
Yes, it should be Sanskrit verses, but you know, previously there was not a Pali Prasadi at all. In our tradition also, in our like in our commentary period, in our commentary period also, there was not a Pali Prasadi. So they also referred to Sanskrit prosody and composed verses, stanzas. So the verses we see today in non-canonical texts are also composed before the composing of Vuttodaya.
Oh, okay, Bante.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is that the Pali prosody is almost completely same with Sanskrit prosody, but Sanskrit prosody is wider than Pali prosody. Pali prosody is a very brief one. So Venerable Sangharakkhita, chooses some meters from Sanskrit prosody which are which are frequently used in our texts. And there, what I told previously was that Venerable Ananda Jyoti observes there are some verses which are very rarely seen. So he cannot imagine the reason for taking those verses from Sanskrit to Pali, because they are very rarely seen, and he Venerable Ananda Jyoti cannot even find examples from our text for some verses here.
Okay, Bante. Thank you very much, Bante. Sadhu,
Okay.
sadhu, sadhu.
Next, go to our lesson today. So previously we finished actually 6 verses until here 5, and here also one verse about Lahu and Garu. So all 6 verses we have already finished. So let's go to the 6th one. Symbols in the bar meter. So others do not have any questions, is it?
No, Bande.
No. Okay. Then symbols in the bar meters. Symbols in the bar meters. What are these bar meters? We mentioned in a previous verse that there are 2 kinds of meters in Vuttodaya. Can you remember them in Pali or in English?
Mata and the Vanna.
Yes, very good. There are 2 types of meters in our Pali prosody. They are Matta meters and Vanna meters. Matta meters and Vanna meters. In English, we called Matta meters as measure meters. Can you remember? Matta meters we called measure meters. Matta is a type of measurement. So we call matta meters as measure meters. In other words, we can call them mora meters, because matta we translate to English as mora. So you can call measure meters or mora meters for matta meters. And the other type is vanna meters, which we translate to English as syllabic meters. Syllabic meters. There are 2 types of meters. Matta Matta Vutti and Vanna Vutti. Matta Vutti, Vanna Vutti. In the previous verse, Venerable Sangharakkhita mentioned this as Matta Vanna Vibhedanang. Matta Vanna Vibhedanang. There are two divisions of meters here. One is Matta and the other one is Vanna. So in English, we call Matta Vutti as measure meters. Measure meter. Measure meter. And we can also call them Mora meters. Okay. Then Vanna Vutti we call in English as syllabic meter. Okay, so there are two types of meters, so two types of verses in Vuttodaya, shown in Vuttodaya. Then what are these bar meters? This is a new word, bar meters. This word bar meters is actually not mentioned in Vuttodaya itself. A Pāli word for bar meters, it is not seen in Vuttodaya. I think our friends from the MA class can remember we talked about 2 meters like Gana meters, Matta meter. Gana meter and Matta meter. Okay, can you remember that?
Yes,
Gana
Monday.
meter and Matta meter. So when we asked about this, our professor answered that Gana meter is similar to Matta meter. Gana meter is similar to Matta meter. So actually, according to Vuttodaya itself, there is not such a division called Gana meter. Gana meter. There is not such a division. But according to this Bhante Ananda Jyoti, there is such a division. So for that Gana meter, Bhante Ananda Jyoti gives a word as bar meter. Okay, Gana meter in English we can call bar meter. Matta meter here, according to Bhante Ananda Jyoti, Matta meter is measure meter. Then what happens is there are 3 types of meters now, according to this division. There are 3 types. So just for now, just remember that in Vuttodaya itself, only Matta meter and Vanna meter is mentioned. But Bhante Ananda Jyoti here mentions about another type of meter called bar meter, and the Pali word for bar meter is Gana meter. So
Monday, sorry.
yes.
So I remember our professor said, Gana Chandas is equal to Vanna.
Gana
So
Chandas is equal to Vanna Chandas.
yes, not to the Mata Chandas.
Gana Chandas is similar to Vanna Chandas. In our Pali lecture.
Yes.
Okay.
He said it looks like that, but later he said, but logically cannot do like that. He said.
Yes. Maybe that is his idea. So, however, according to Vuttodaya, just remember there are only two types of chandas, Vanna chandas and Matta chandas. But Bhante Ananda Jyoti mentions about another type, which is bar meter, and the word for that is Gana chandas. For now, just remember Gana chandas and Matta chandas, both just remember as Matta chandas. Okay, for now. So there are 2 types, Vanna chandas and Matta chandas. You can insert this Gana chandas to Matta chandas. Okay, when we say bar meters, actual Pali word for bar meters is Gana chandas. But because there is not such a chandas in Vuttodaya itself, we for now just consider this Gana chandas as same as Matta chandas. So after the first chapter, this is the first chapter, Patamo Parichedo, the next chapter is Matta Vutti Nidesa. That means that kind of chandas which is named as Matta Vutti. So this whole second chapter is given for Matta Vutti. And then after the second chapter, third chapter Samavutti, and fourth chapter is Adda Samavutti, fifth chapter is Visamavutti. Though these three chapters are given for Vannavutti Chandas. In Vannavutti there are three divisions again, Sama, Visama and Adda Sama. We will talk about them later. So according to Vuttodaya, there are only two types of chandas, Vannavutti and Mattavutti. But what happens next is, here in the second chapter, actually, as I mentioned in Vuttodaya, there is only Matta chandas. There is not a division of chandas called Gana chandas. But scholars like Bhante Venerable Ananda Jyoti, they divide this chapter to two sections, and like there are four sections in this chapter, second chapter. One is Ariya Jati and the second one is Giti Jati. Okay, third one is Vetaliya Jati and the fourth one is Matta Samaka Jati. There are four sections, four jatis, four types in within this first chapter, within Matta Vutti. There are four sections or four types. But scholars like Venerable Ananda Jyoti divide this chapter into two sections again, as this Ariya Jati and Giti Jati to one section, and then as I remember, this Vetaliya Jati and Matta Samaka Jati to one section. As I remember, I cannot remember actually well how he divide them. And then he names this Ariya Jati and Giti Jati as bar meters. And then Vetaliya, especially Vetaliya Jati, as Matta meter. So according to scholars like him, the actual Matta meter is this Vetaliya Jati. This Ariya Jati and Giti Jati is actually called as, according to them, these are called as bar meters, so Gana Chandas. Symbols in the bar meters. We already learned the symbols in the syllabic meters, isn't it? We learned the symbols in the syllabic meters. There are 8 Ganas and there are Garu and Lahu. So what are the symbols in the bar meters? Bar meters. They are Bhajasa Sabba Galahu Panchime Santita Gana Aryadim Hivinyaya Gano Ida Chatukalo. Bhajasa, Bha group, Ja group and Sa group. Then Sabba Galahu, Sabba Ga means Sabba Garu group. What is the Sabba Garu group? Sabba Garu means all syllables or all parts within that group are heavy or Garu. So Sabba Garu group refers to which one?
Magana.
Yes, it is Magana, Ma group. So Sabba Garu refers to Magana. Then Sabba Lahu group. Sabba Lahu group refers to which Gana?
Nagana.
Yes, Sabba Lahu refers to Nagana. Then there are 5 Ganas here: Bha, Ja, and Sa, Bhagana, Jagana, Sagana, and Magana and Nagana. 5. Panchime, Pancha Ime, Ime Pancha Gana. These 5 Ganas, these 5 groups are Santita, it's like established, or in simple words, seen in where Arya Dimhi, the verses beginning from Arya. Arya is the first verse presented in this Vuttodaya. So in the verses beginning from Arya, Aryadi, Aryadimhi, in the verses beginning from Arya, we can see these 5 ganas. We can only see these 5 ganas actually. Ariyadimi Vinyaya, you should know, Vinyaya, that should be known, that in the verses beginning from Ariya, we can see 5 ganas. They are namely Bhagana, Jagana, Sagana, and Magana, and Nagana. There are 5 ganas. Okay. So here, according to Vuttodaya itself, Ariya Dimhi should refer to all the verses beginning from Ariya. So they are namely whole Mattavutti chapter. Okay. So to show you, this is the second chapter of Vuttodaya, and this is the Ariya verse. Chatto Kilalahu Jova. This is the Ariya verse. Then the verses beginning from Ariya refer, according to Vuttodaya itself, according to Venerable Sangharakkhita, it refers to whole second chapter. Okay, whole second chapter. So if we take the meaning like that, in the whole second chapter, only 5 ganas should be seen. Bha, ja, sa, ma, and na. Bhagana, Jagana, Sagana, Magana, and Nagana should be, only those 5 ganas should be seen in this chapter. Here, Ariya Dimhi, when Venerable Sangharakkhita says Ariya Dimhi, if we take all Mattavutti meters, or in other words, if we take all the verses in the second chapter as Mattavutti, Bhante Venerable Ananda Jyoti says that these are not Mattavutti, these are Gana Chandas, and these are Matta Chandas. Venerable Ananda Jyoti says like that. But if we, according to Vuttodaya itself, consider all these verses are Mattavutti, because you see the chapter name of the chapter is also Mattavutti Niddesa, and Vuttodaya itself mentioned that there are only 2 types, Vannavutti and Mattavutti. So if we take all as Mattavutti, then by Ariya Dimhi, okay, by the word Ariya Dimhi, Venerable Sangharakkhita refers to the verses beginning from this verse, Ariya verse. The name for them is Mattavutti. Then that Mattavutti, in other words, is the name for all the verses shown in this second chapter. According to that theory, in this whole chapter, only 5 ganas or groups should be seen. Okay, but in the third section, named as Vetaliya Jati, you can see Ragana also here in the first verse in the Vetaliya Jati. Visame siyung kala mukhe sametvatta ra la ga tato pari. You see Ragana is here. So Ragana was not included within that 5 ganas. So according to our tradition, according to the tradition in Burma, and according to Vuttodaya itself, this is kind of a Yebhuya Naya. Like in most of the verses in the second chapter, we can see Bha, Ja, Sa, Ma, and Na, 5 ganas. But sometimes there can be other ganas or other groups like Ra and Ya. Ragana and Yagana is also seen. So they are seen only sometimes, but mainly Bha, Ja, Sa, Ma, and Na. These 5 ganas are seen in the whole second chapter, Mattavutti Niddesa. So that is the meaning of this verse according to tradition. Then we come to the explanation of Bhante Ananda Jyoti. What scholars do is that they divide the Matta Vutti again into 2 sections, as I mentioned, Ba meters and Matta meters. So they give the word the name Matta meters only to Vetaliya. Okay, Vetaliya, this section they name as matta meters, and this section they name as bar meters, so gana chandas. Okay, then what happened is that when Venerable Sangharakkhita mentions as Ariya Dimhi, scholars say that you should only take bar meters. Okay, so within these bar meters you can only see 5 ganas: bhagana, jagana, sagana, magana and nagana. But if you go to here Vetaliya, which is according to them matta vutti, you can see other ganas also, ragana and yagana and so on. Because of this problem, I think they divide the matta vutti to 2 sections, at bar meters and matta meters. In bar meters you can only see 5 groups or ganas, 5 ganas. Okay, is that clear for you?
Hi, Bante.
Yes.
I'm a little bit confused about the word Arya Demhi. So here in the translation, it says that's the proper name. What does it mean, Bante?
Actually, this is not a word-to-word translation. This is just a kind of explanation about the words. So Aryadim should be translated as the verse in the verses beginning with Arya, but here he just mentioned that Arya is a proper name. Arya is a name for a verse.
So where is that verse, Bante?
That verse is here in the beginning of the 2nd chapter. This is the first verse of Vuttodaya. Not first verse of Vuttodaya, but actually the first verse presented in or introduced in Vuttodaya is Arya. This is Arya verse, and this you see here Arya Jatyo. This is the type of verses of Arya. All these verses belong to Arya type, Arya kind. Okay.
I see. Okay, thank you, Bante.
Okay. So for others, is that clear?
Yes, but now it's very clear. When the professor taught that time, I couldn't understand what he was talking about. But now it's okay.
Okay. Okay, then we are going to the last line of this verse. Gano ida chatukkalo. This is a very important point. Gano ida chatukkalo. Ida, here. Gano, one group is chatukkalo. One group has 4 parts. Kala refers to part, and here it refers to part which we call as matra or mora. So chatukkalo means 4 moras, 4 matras. Here it is translated as 4 instants, because the word color itself, the meaning of word color is part or instant. Because of that it is translated like this. But according to sub-commentaries and Nisayas, kalo directly means matra or mora. Okay, then chatukkalo means 4 moras. So here one group is 4 moras. Okay, so this is very important point, completely different from syllabic meters. In syllabic meters, I think you can remember, in syllabic meters, when we create a gana or a group, we mentioned that 3 syllables is a one group, isn't it? Like Magganyu, let's say. Mag, gan, new. Here there are 3 syllables. Mag is one, gan is another one, new is another one. Then mag, gan, new. This is one group. 3 syllables. We consider 3 syllables as one group. Let's say there are some other syllables here. He, he. Okay. There are 6 syllables now. Here, let's say this is a line of a verse. Then we consider this Magganyu as one group and he as another group. In Nahi, Verena, verani. Here there are 8 syllables. According to the rule regarding to this meter, we do not consider the first syllable and the last syllable. Then here you see he, re. This is one group. Na, vera. This is another group, because we consider 3 syllables as one group. Okay, this is the way of syllabic meter, so vannavutti. But in bar meters, or in another words in matta vutti, in matta meters, one group is not 3 syllables, one group is 4 moras. Okay, in matta vutti, one group is 4 moras. Matta vutti gana equals to 4 moras, 4 matras. So do you have any idea about mora or matra? Can someone please explain in a sentence or two what is called as a matra or mora?
The mora we consider as the vowel is heavy or light.
Okay. Yes, actually heavy and light moras. There are heavy and light moras, but a mora is a measurement to measure the time that takes to pronounce letters. So in grammar, we learn like in one short vowel, there is one mora. Time we take to pronounce a short vowel is considered as one mora. Okay, the time we take to pronounce short vowel like a, e, u, e, o, this time is considered as one mora or one matra. Then the time we take to pronounce long vowels is considered as 2 moras. Okay, we take twice as time as we take to pronounce short vowels when we pronounce long vowels.
So Bandya, that means like equal 1 matra, right?
Yes. Yes.
So A O should be 2 matra, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
2 matra.
Yeah, 2 matra for A O, because you said A, E, U, A, O is 1 mora.
Sorry. That was a mistake. Only a, e, u. A, o are long in Pāḷi now. Yes, a, e, u. Short vowels like a, e, u. Sorry, it was a mistake. So to pronounce short vowels like a, e, u, we take only a time which we name as one mora or one matra or one. Okay. For long vowels, we take twice of that time. Like when we pronounce a or e, u, a, o, we take 2 moras. To pronounce consonants without vowels, like let's say k, without any vowel, if we pronounce them, it is difficult to pronounce consonants without vowels, because not like in English we don't have names for consonants. No, in English we can pronounce this like k, but in Pali this does not have a name. So when we pronounce this k, we should join a vowel to this and pronounce that. But if we pronounce like ug, like if we pronounce it, it would take half a mora. Okay, half a mora to pronounce a consonant. Okay, then if we add a consonant to a short vowel, if we join them, what will happen? How much of time, according to this system, would you take to pronounce this one? Ka.
But it should be just one more, right, Bante?
Why?
It's just because I think it's the influence of the vowel.
Okay, but I mean, if we calculate according to this system, there are 1.5 moras, isn't it? according to this system, there are 1.5
But I
moras.
don't think we are going to pronounce them separately, right?
No, we do not going to pronounce them separately, but like uk and ka. There is a difference, isn't it? When you pronounce and when you pronounce ka, sound of k is added to the sound of a. Actually, half a mora is a very short time. However, when you calculate this, we consider this as it takes 1.5 moras to pronounce ka, and to pronounce ka, you take 2.5 moras. And sometimes, like places like this, let's say cut, there is a conjunct after this, like here. Let's say like this is just example. So the conjuncts like here, we mentioned that the first consonant of the conjunct is joined with this side, and we pronounce like this. So here in this syllable, there are actually 3 moras, isn't it? Here half, here in T there is half, and A there is 1 mora. So this is 2 moras. Okay. And in places like this, how many moras are there? K plus long A plus T. How many moras are there?
So
Three.
Pandey, I think the Kattama there be 3.5. No?
Cut ma. Yes. If you count ma, there are 3.5. But I just wanted this as the example. Only cut. Okay. So here you have 3 moras. So according to this grammatical calculation, there can be different types of moras, not moras, but different types like this: half mora, half a mora, 1 mora, 2 moras, 1.5 mora, 2.5 mora. Okay, 3 mora, and there can be 3.5 mora also. Like in places like this. So let's say here there are 2 consonants. So there can be 3.5 moras also.
But
So there is, yes.
are you sure there is in Pāļi there's non-vowel followed by 3 consonants?
Like Vedana Khando, Nak, N, long A, K, K, H. Here, Vedana Khando, Na, Kha. Long vowel, sometimes followed by conjuncts. Okay, okay, is that clear?
Yeah,
Hi,
but
Pandey.
here you have the got the clat.
No. That is a different Sayale. Hi, Pandey. So, but then if you say that it's followed by the 3 consonant, then you take the kaha at 2 different consonants. I think in Pali we consider it's just one, right?
Which one?
You
In
have the
Vedana
example.
Khando here?
Yes.
Okay.
So you said followed by the na, the long r. We have 3.
Okay.
That is the conjunct consonant. But
Okay.
so we have ka and then ka. Ka is usually we take it just one, right? Because right when we write in English, then we have ka ha. But I mean in other
Yes.
languages, then it's just only one word, one letter, right?
Kha is one consonant. What I wanted to show is that there are conjuncts after long vowels. So in those places, we should take the first consonant of the conjunct to this previous side, like this. You see,
Yes,
we do
but
not
it's
take one
yes,
for this K for this side. We do not take that.
right. But
Yes.
then so I mean because we're talking about moras here, so the kaha that should be only half a mora as well, right? We're not gonna take ka as a half mora and then ha as a half mora to make it as a 1 mora.
Yes, it's because here you see in English we consider this as 2 letters,
Yeah.
but these 2 letters stand for ik in Pali, ka, ka. Ka is a single consonant.
Right.
Single consonant, but we write in English as KH.
Yeah.
So that single consonant KH has only half a mora.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So Bhante, hello.
Yes. Yes,
So,
Venerable.
so Bhante, when you say Vedana Kando, so we have to consider it until Nak, right? So it should be Na is 2, right? 2 more As. Nak. So it should be 2.5, right? So we
It
don't.
should be 3 actually, because here in A, in long A,
There are 2.
there are 2, yes. And in there is half. Here K also half. So
So that
actually
makes
there
3
are
Bhante, right?
3. Yes, there are 3. Okay.
Yes, Bhante, that's fine. Yes.
Okay, what I wanted to show you is that in grammar we have such this kind of calculations, like in Rupa Siddhi. In Rupa Siddhi, maybe you have seen there is a sentence like Anye Gahanang. I cannot remember actually. Anye Gahanang or Anya Gahanang or something like that. Anye Gahanang Tiyadda Mattikanam. Tiyadda Mattikanampi Sangaha Nathang. Okay. Here you see Anye Gahana. This comes under the sutra Anye Digha. Anye Digha. So in Anye Digha, Rupasiddhi mentions that the author of the Kachayana puts the word Anye in order to take Tiyadda Mattika. Tiyadda Mattika means Ti Adda Mattika. Sorry, not Tiyadda Mattika. Tiyadda Mattika. Ti Adda Mattika means 2.5. 2.5. So Anya, the word Anya is put here 2 in order to take take the syllables with 2.5 moras. You see, you can find this kind of calculations in grammar, and it's in another place. Maybe I'm sure you have met this. Ekamatto bhave rasso, diadho dimatto. Sorry, dvimatto digha muchate. This is actually a Sanskrit verse, but now it is in our text also. Dimatto digha muchate. Timatto tu pluto nyeyo vyanjanang chadha matta kang. Okay, here also it is mentioned that if there is one matra eka matra, it is rasa, and if there are two matras, it is diga. Timatto to plutonyo. If there are three matras, it is considered as pluta. This is another this word pluta is used in another context actually. Vyanjanan chaddamattakang, a consonant vyanjana has only half a matra. So likewise, we can see such kind of a system in grammar. But what I wanted to say is that in Vuttodaya, in prosody, you only use one mora and two mora system. Two mora. Okay. We don't have half a moras. We don't have three moras. We don't have 1.5 or 2.5. We just have one mora and two mora. Okay. So light syllables you consider as one mora. Light syllables have one mora, and heavy syllables have two moras. Okay. When you pronounce light syllable, you take one mora or a time of one matra to pronounce a light syllable. When you pronounce a heavy syllable, you take two mora, so two matras. Okay. So this is the only division, only system we use in Vuttodaya. Okay. So
So
here, yes.
I'm sorry, but so does that mean that we have to round it up, Bante? So for
To
example, the word like the attang, attang, then we know that attang, so the word at, so we have to add the ta, the first ta into the at. Then we call that the heavy syllable. But when we
Yes.
count the mora according to this, then it's just 1.5. That means we
Yes.
have to round it up into 2 moras then.
Yes, of course. You are correct.
I see. Okay. Thank you,
Now
Pandit.
it is considered as 2 moras. Actually, according to the calculation or that grammatical system, here there are 1.5 moras is it. But in Vuttodaya, in this system, every heavy syllable is considered as having 2 moras. So here at have 2 moras. Thumb here also you see thumb t. If we add all these things, we consider this heavy syllable as having 2 moras. Okay, we only use that system. So then bha jasa sabba galahu. What happened is bha ja sa and ma and na. These are the groups we see in matta vutti. So in bhagana, can you remember the order in bhagana? Heavy, light, light, isn't it? Heavy,
Adi
light,
Guru.
light.
Adi Guru.
Adi Guru. Yes, yes, you are correct. So let's say like this: 2, 1, 1. Okay, 2 is 2 moras. Heavy syllable. This 2 stands for heavy syllable because I don't know how to type curved lines in the keyboard. Okay, so instead of curved line, I have typed here 2. Instead of straight line, I have typed 1. Okay, so heavy, light, light. So when we add these moras, we get 4 moras instead. So in this matta vutti, we have bhagana with 4 moras, and we have jagana with 4 moras. Adi, no, majja guru, isn't it?
Yes, Majja Guru.
Light, heavy, light. So when we add these things, there are also 4 moras. In sa, can you remember sa? Sagana?
Anta Guru.
Yes, Antaguru. 1, 1, 2. 1 stands for light. Okay. 1 stands for light. 2 stands for heavy. So light, light, heavy. Sagana. That also when we add, we get 4 moras. But here in ma, what is the order of magan?
Sabba Guru.
Sabbaguru. Yes. Then 2, 2, 2. What happens is when we add them, there are 6 moras. Okay. There are 6 moras. What about nagana?
Sabba Lahu.
Sabbalahu, yes, 1, 1, 1. So when we add them, there are only no. Yes, there are only 3 moras, isn't it? Yes. So according to the syllabic meter system, this problem arises. But there is a big difference in bar meters or matta vutti. That is, there can be only there should not. I mean, having 3 syllables is not a rule in this meter. The rule is that there should be 4 matras, only 4 matras. So then what happens is we don't need this syllable. With 2 heavy syllables, we can identify a word as magana because there are 4 matras. Is that clear for you? So what happened is with 2 syllables, magana can be found in matta vutti meters, not like vanna vutti. In vanna vutti, there should be 3 syllables everywhere, but in matta vutti, there should being 3 syllables is not a rule. The rule is that there should be 4 matras in a group, not 3 syllables. Okay. So here also there are only 3 matras. So we add another 1 matra for this, and then it becomes a nagana. This is the nagana we use in bar meters, so matta meters, and there are 4 syllables in nagana. But the rule that magana only contains heavy syllables and nagana only contains light syllables does not differ here. Here also in Bhamita, so in Matta Vutti also, Magana only contains heavy syllables, Nagana only contains light syllables, but the difference is in Magana there are only 2 syllables, in Nagana there are 4 syllables. So this is what Venerable Sangharakkhita mentions as Gano Ida Chatukkalo. Here in bar meters, one group contains 4 matras. Then, okay, we finished one verse for today. Okay, so in bar meters there are only 5 ganas. But in some places there can be seen ganas like ragana and yagana. So there are some exceptions for this rule. And the other important point is that gano is a chatukkalo in this matta vutti. One gana or one group is considered as having 4 matras, not considered as having 3 syllables. Okay, then we have to wind up today's discussion. Do you have any questions?
So Bandit, in one place you mentioned when we count the like nahi virena na virani, the in that part, we don't count the na and the ni. We don't count the beginning and the end. Why?
You will learn it later because it is a rule in that kind of meters. We call that meter as Vatta. It is at the end of Vuttodaya. So Vatta kind of meters, the rule is that there should be 8 syllables because that belongs to syllabic meters. So there should be 8 syllables, and apart from first syllable and last syllable, there should be 2 ganas. Okay, so that is the kind of rule in the Vatta verses. Okay, so when we compose Vatta verses and when we examine Vatta verses, we do not count the first syllable and the last syllable. He, ve, re, na, ve, ra, ni. You see, apart from first syllable and last syllable, there should be 2 groups. So he, ve, re is ya group. Na, ve, ra is again ya group. There are 2 groups here apart from first syllable and last syllable. That is the rule of that meter.
Okay, Bandit. That means this rule is only applied for like 8 syllables. How about a 7 or 6 or like a 5?
No, only 8 syllables.
Only for 8?
Only for 8.
Okay, thank you, Bandit.
Any other questions? Give me 1 more minute to explain some another thing because I couldn't explain that. Why we called some meters as matta meter and why we call the other one as vanna meter? What is the reason for calling them as matta meter and vanna meter? Syllabic meter and mora meter. Do you have idea about that? What do you think? What is the reason for calling them? What is the reason for separating them like that? Matta meter and vanna meter.
I have no idea, Bandit.
Okay. Because yes.
I think, may I say? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think because of the name, Mata meter means Mora meter, and Vana meter is just syllabic meter. So it means in Mata meter, we differentiate between long and short, whereas in Vana meter, we don't count the long and short thing.
Yes. That's kind of a good answer. Because yes, in matta meters we count moras, not syllables. Okay, I think you can remember about how I can remember how we counted in our class. We count moras 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we find at last in one half of the verse there are 18 moras. Can you remember? And in the whole verse there were 27 moras. Okay, so we consider about the uh, moras in mora meter or matta meter. This is one reason for naming them mora meters. In 1 meter, you do not count moras at all. You only count syllables. Like in Nahi Verena Verani, you don't count moras within that stanza. You count Nahi Verena Veran. There are 8 syllables. Okay, then this is one line. One line should consider 8 syllables. So in 1 meter or syllabic meter, you count syllables. In mora meter or matra meter, you count matras, mattas or moras. Okay, and another reason you can see here also, when we create ganas in syllabic meter, we say that one group is 3 syllables. Okay, one group is 3 syllables in syllabic meter, but in matra meter, one group is 4 matras. Okay, so in the basic unit also that difference is seen. In the basic unit, what we called as groups, in groups also, in matta meter we create groups according to moras. In syllabic meter we create groups according to syllables. So there is such a difference also. So we can see 2 reasons for separating them to 2 sections, matta meter and vanna meter. Okay, so are there any other questions, or shall we wind up the discussion?
So, but I think there's no other question.
Yeah, thank you, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you,
Bante.
Pandit. Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bante. Sadhu,
Thank you,
sadhu,
Bhante.
sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
All for participating in this.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.